Hello everyone, this is Gage from Gondorian Smith, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another Third Age Reforged online multiplayer battle replay. Now, before we get any further into this particular open siege battle, I would like to make a few announcements. The first of which is that I do apologize for not having uploaded in, I believe, like 3 weeks or something. That is not great, but it's because I've had some issues in my personal life, in real life, really. So I was not really able to make any videos, and I've just been not doing great overall. But anyway, I think for the most part, I've gotten through most of the things, but still a few issues to resolve, but that's beside the point. So I do apologize for not uploading. However, I should be able to upload regularly again once more. Also, I should mention that the ModDB Mod of the Year voting is currently going on, so please go and make sure that you vote for Third Age Reforged because the mod is, of course, in that contest. The link to that will be down in the description below, and who knows, I might even have a little thing over playing right now on how to actually do it. But anyway, please go ahead and vote for Third Age Reforged for Mod of the Year on moddb.com. Also, I should mention that I actually will be uploading some 0.97 event or community event replays, because if you guys do not know, this weekend, today is Saturday, I believe, well, technically it's Sunday because it's like 1:30 in the morning, but this weekend there was a community event, charity event really, for 0.97 that both promotes 0.97 as well as, I believe, JMonster is giving like $100 or something to a charity of the winning team's choosing. It's a good versus evil event on 0.97, and you will actually be getting to see some replays of that particular event here pretty shortly, because I do have a few of those to show you guys. However, that I believe just about does it for the announcements, I guess. So we can go ahead and get into the army compositions right away. But I should also mention that this, even though it's actually technically a pitch map, this is actually more of a siege, because it was myself defending with Lango this little hill here, so kind of a nice open little like hill siege, kind of almost like maps like the Iron Hills. But we'll go first into the army comp of Mech Lango, who is my ally today. He's going to be playing as Gondor. I believe he has like 3 or 4 units. No, actually maybe, whoa, that's actually a lot. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe the full 6 units of Gondor infantry. He's also got 2 units of Pelargir Marines, 2 units of upgraded Axemen of Lossarnach. He's also got 2 units of Fountain Guard, a Ballista. He's got some Care Andros marksmen down here, very good archers. They're actually very good in melee as well. I think they have like 11 attack in melee, which makes them very deadly. He's got a unit of the Nimlothian Honor Guard, who I have not found super useful, in all honesty, in 0.96.1. However, in 0.97, I've found them very, very useful, mainly because of the buff to morale that they do give to their surrounding units. He also has a unit of the Ramscourt Garrison Archers, and it looks like that's just about it for his army, although I do actually know that he has a unit of Ithilien Rangers hidden around here somewhere as well. So up here, I was actually fortunate enough to actually spawn on the hill. Lango, you can see, is actually going to have to make his way over here quickly. I am actually going to be playing as Linden, which is not a faction that I play very often. I don't actually know why. I guess I don't play elves a whole lot anyway. But Linden is definitely one of the factions I have not played very often, so I decided to play them in this particular replay. I do have a couple units here of the Mithlon Marines, who are very good javelin men as well as swordsmen in melee, although like the rest of the Linden roster, they do not have great armor. I also actually have 2 units of the Noldoran Guard, who actually are very different from the rest of the Linden roster in that they actually do have very good armor. Very good at holding a line. I've got 2 units of the Mithlond Pikemen, the higher tier pikemen. I've also got 2 units of the Forlandon Pikemen around here somewhere, which are the slightly cheaper, slightly worse pikeman unit. I've also got 2 units of the Mithlond Swordmasters, very skillful, very high in attack, but again, very low in armor. I also have 1 unit of the Wardens of Alistairian Ranger here, so the BP will definitely come in handy. I've got 1 unit of the Noldoran Blade Masters, 1300 florins, 2 HP, decent armor, 2 hit points, and super good skill and attack. I also got 2 units of the Harlandon Guard, who are both archers as well as spearmen. And in addition to that, I have 2 units of the Forlandon Archers. And I believe that pretty much does it for the defending army comp. So we can now go over here to the first of the attackers, who is going to be Neo Denoko, playing as the Witch Realm of Angmar. Now he's got a unit of the Witch Realm Inquisitors, who might do decent. We'll just have to see. He's got a couple units, I believe, of the Angmar Halberds, a few units of the Guardians of Cardoon. He's got the Trolls of Angmar, a unit of the Witch Realm Hammer Guard, as well as a unit of the Witch Realm Scourge Raiders. He's got his own Ballista. He's also got a unit of the Witch Realm Blackguard, so both elites from Angmar today. He's also got some more Halberds back here, and I think he also has 2 units of Barrow-wights hidden around here somewhere. Of course, those are always going to be a staple for Angmar, particularly in sieges, because of their ability to just hold, or be able to like hold up in melee for so darn long. But that pretty much does it for his army, so we can now go over here to the next attacking army, which is going to be Rain 5823 playing as Rune. Now he actually has 3 units, I believe, of the Loke Scion Rim, even though I believe they cap out at 2, so he did actually bring 3 nevertheless. He's also got, I believe, 3 units of the AP Loke Flag Rim. All of these AP units are going to do very good against Gondor, but not so good against Lindon. He's got 1 of the Loke Narim, 2 units of the Eastron Hunters. He's got 3 units of Loke Gamperim Halberds. Actually, it might be 4 units. No, just 3. He also has his own Ballista, as well as a unit of the Camul's Chosen over here. And I think he also has a couple units of the Camul's Shadow Guard, and maybe even a unit of Shadow Bows as well. But that pretty much does it for his army comp, so we can now go here and see the final attacker, which is going to be Rudour, commanded by Vision. He's got some Hereditary Nobles, I believe. It is indeed his general. I can see him standing right, or sitting right there, rather. He's got a unit of the Witch Roman Slavers, very good AP Shock Infantry Elite unit. He's got some Rudour Swordsmen, he's got 2 units of Black Wolves, he's got a Catapult, he's got some Hereditary Berserkers, as well as some Hereditary Rangers. And I know he also has a couple units of Ettenmoor's Troll Hunters, as well as the Forodrim Javelins, so of course a ton of Javelins from Rudour, as well as some Mercenary War Chiefs. However, you can see that he does not actually have Pikes, which is kind of interesting. Most of the time you're always going to see Rudour have some Pikes, particularly the Hereditary Pikemen. But that is actually not the case today. So without any further ado, we can go ahead and start this replay off. I think we could probably leave it at 2 times for just a bit, because the attackers don't begin... Well, Angmar tries to make his way over here pretty quickly, but because of how far away he is, it actually does take a bit of time. Actually, something I forgot to mention is that I also actually have 2 units of the Forlondon Marines, who are cheaper javelins, but they're still pretty decent, and they actually also double as spearmen in melee, so they're good against cav. Yeah, I believe that was the only thing I missed for the defending army comes, I think. But we'll go over here. You can see that Gondor is rushing over here to try to make it up to the hill, and thankfully the attackers were kind enough to allow Lingo to do so, because obviously they could start charging with his cavalry right here. Vision could just start mercilessly charging to the back of Gondor, but thankfully they were kind enough to let Lingo go up here, of course, onto the hill. Because like I said, this was technically a siege, which is why it's 2 versus 3, and it's also why the attackers had more money than both of the defenders, of course. I don't think there's anything too special about these armies in particular, other than the fact that all 3 attackers have brought artillery. There's 2 ballistas as well as a catapult from the attackers, and only Lengo has a ballista on our team, so the attackers may end up suffering some casualties. Or, sorry, the defenders may end up suffering some pretty heavy casualties just from the enemy artillery. You can see Gondor rushing up here. Lots and lots of Gondor infantry, always nice to see. Gondor also got a bunch of really nice troops in .97, but I won't say anything more about that right now. You don't worry, you'll get to see it eventually. Also, I should mention that the Wardens of Elastern are actually super great now. I don't know if I noticed. I don't know if I mentioned that, but they are definitely not to be underestimated in melee. And of course, with the Elven accuracy, they are of course very deadly at range. I may end up actually making a slight cut here, but I don't want to, because I know for a fact that both Rune and Rudour attacked pretty quickly, actually. But maybe that's not the case. You can see I've got some Harlandon Guard over here on my allies' side, trying to take some shots off on important units. Although I think I actually was not meaning to fire at the Rudour Swordsmen. Looks like they are taking some losses here from my archers, so a bit of a mistake from myself there, just firing at some Rudour Swordsmen. It's not the best call, especially with all of these very lightly armored Rudour units around, like the Forodrim Javelins. Even things like, well, Troll Hunters have good armor and a good shield value, but I should definitely conserve my ammo there, because I don't have a ton of infantry, well, a ton of archers actually. Well, I've got 4 archers plus 1 ranger. So that's a decent amount, but against all of these units, it's going to be difficult. You can see he actually does have 2 units of the Camul's Shadow Guard AP Shock Infantry, not bad at all in melee, but again, very lightly armored, and they'll definitely be a target of my foot archers. You can see, yeah, Rune rushing forward here with his entire army, and I was actually very surprised that he did actually bring 3 units of the Loke Scion Ring. I'm kind of interested to see how much he paid for that 3rd one. Interesting. However, you can see that Gondor is setting up over here. He's got some infantry, some Carriage marksmen, all in this nice little, like, almost like a beach. It almost looks like a beach landing, honestly. If there was just some water right here, it basically would be a beach landing. So it should be cool to see. Well, it looks like he has left his Nimlothian Honor Guard out here, which is not great, because if he does forget about them, they'll probably get mercilessly javelined to death by Rudour. Also, an interesting thing is that Rune rather, did not bring any crossbows. Crossbows are definitely something that you see quite often in runic armies, that is not the case in this particular battle. You can see my archers actually did see the Camille's Shadow Guard before they went into hiding, so I am going to be targeting them because, again, they are very lightly armored, and they are very deadly in melee, so they're definitely a target for my foot archers. You can see his 3 units of Scion in here. Again, very interesting call, but we'll have to see if it works out for him. As Camille's Shadow Guard taking some pretty nasty losses, but they are going to lose formation now. That may slow it down just a bit, because you can see that Rune might be wanting to get into the fight here. They might want to start the fight. Eastern Hunters rushing forward, but they're of course going to stop just a bit short because they want to shoot their arrows first, of course, before running into melee. Eastern Hunters are of course very low tier, pardon me, very low tier archers, but they can get the job done just because of how many men they actually have in the unit. They're probably not going to get too many kills against Gondor with their heavy armor, but if they do target some of my units that I am actually bringing over here to help out, they will be able to get a decent amount of kills just because of how lightly armored Linden really is. Over here, it doesn't look like much is happening. You can see some Goblin Trackers from Yadinolko trying to skirmish down some of my full Linden archers, which Inquisitors running all the way around the flank, and there are some Amor Halberds as well as Barrow Whites making their way over here, slowly but surely creeping their way towards us. We've got some Mithlon Marines here as well because I saw those Flag Rim and I saw those Sign Rim, saw all that good heavy armor, and of course the AP Javelins would do a ton of damage. And with this very excellent angle, I'm going to be able to get a lot of kills on these heavily armored infantrymen. Although, of course, with all of this heavy armor and with all of the elites that all 3 of the attackers brought, I am going to have to conserve a bit with my Javelin ammo, particularly because of the fact that Angmar brought both the Hammer Guard as well as the Black Guard. We're going to have some difficulties, I think, dealing with the elites. But yeah, I've got my Harlandon Guard over here still firing at different units. Looks like I was trying to skirmish on a few of those Eastern Hunters, flattening about 100 of those Eastern Hunters right away with just a couple volleys because they were not in loose formation, and of course because of the skill of the Harlandon Guard archers. Mithlon Marines taking a few losses, you can see, and that is due to the fact that the ballista of Rune was actually firing directly at my Mithlon Marines. It was kind of hard to tell because they weren't using the fire ammo, but you can see this line here of dead Ram's Corps Garrison archers as well as Mithlon Marines. That's all because of the ballista back there. Elsewhere, you can see that the Gondor Ballista is indeed firing at, ooh yes, these Camille's Chosen. I remember watching this, both Lengo and I were of course, actually talking with V in a voice chat during this battle, and Lengo saw that the Camille's Chosen were just kind of sitting here right in range of the Ballista, so a bunch of these guys are going to get just flattened by that Ballista, including the Runic General, so definitely a good thing for us. Elsewhere, you can see that the Forged Javelins are taking some losses as well. A lot of the Gondor Archers, though, going down. That is not great. Yeah, they're just in range of those Javelins. But honestly, that's fine. As long as he's Javelining the Archers who are in loose formation, a lot of the Javelins are going to miss, which will let the Gondor Infantry units like that be able to take less losses because of it. You can see that the Horrendine Rangers are kind of sitting back here as well. They just went into hiding. Getting a little bit laggy, but again, once troops die, it should calm down a bit. The Ballista still just hammering into those poor Camille's Chosen. Not a great use there of the Camille's Chosen by Rain, unfortunately. There's only about 23 of them remaining. Oh boy, look at these poor Eastern Hunters just completely flattened. They were not in loose formation, so they just took horrendous losses. These Loksign are just sitting here. Unfortunately, they're just about out of range of both the Pelargir Marines as well as my Mithlon Marines, so nothing is going to come of that quite yet. Over here, nothing much has happened except for the fact that, yeah, some Gondor infantry did come over here to support my pikeline, because as you probably noticed, I do not have any units besides my javelins, who of course have to use as javelins. I do not have any shielded infantry, so I was relying on Lenga to kind of help me out and protect my pikes with his Gondor infantry, who of course are very heavily armored. Barrow Whites are slowly making their way over here. They're a little bit kind of out here by themselves, but because I don't have any cavalry to charge into them, Denolko doesn't really have anything to fear for that. You can see the 3 units of Blacksmith Boss are not there. It's nice to see. Ooh, the Ballista. Ooh, getting some nice shots here on the Witchrealm Enslavers. So right away, this Ballista really proving its worth just because of the fact that it's taken out so many of the Camille's Chosen, as well as a decent amount of these Witchrealm Enslavers now. Catapult also was taken out, it looks like, by Gondor's Ballista, so definitely worth that 850 price tag. Over here, ooh, these poor Gondor infantry, as well as, nope, just the Gondor infantry, I thought there was a different unit around here, but these poor Gondor infantrymen, already about 60 of them have died due to the javelins of the Edmore's Troll Hunters and the Forward Rim Javelins. It looks like Rudar might want to get into the infantry fight, maybe not. You can see I've actually brought down some Mithlond pikemen around here to help out my ally as well. Also, these Harlem Guard are out of ammo, so I just decided to commit them here on the front line because, as you can see, the Lok Flagrim of Arun are kind of just butchering their way through these poor Gondor infantrymen. The Gondor infantry are really no match to the Lok Flagrim, who have really good armor as well as AP. So the Gondor infantry are just going to get completely butchered, which is why I have brought down some Harlem Guard as well as some Mithlond pikemen, because the Mithlond pikemen will be able to hold for a real long time against these heavily armored Lok Flagrim. Mithlond Marines are up there, as well as some Pelargir Marines, so lots of javelins getting tossed in here. Cyan Rim just, oh, they're kind of asking for it, and actually, we just missed it, but the Ballista actually turned its attention towards these Cyan Rim here, who were in shield wall, so they did take quite a few losses. Unfortunately, this time, though, unfortunately for the defenders, that is, Rain did notice this, and he actually has put his men into loose formation now. Over here, you can see now my Mithlond pikemen and the Gondor infantry are getting javelined to death, but again, there's really not much we can do about this. We kind of just have to sit here and take it on the chin, because especially eventually these javelins are going to run out. And the Edmore's Troll Hunters aren't great in melee because they're spearmen. The Forge Rim Javelins are better in melee, but they have very light armor. So again, not super hard to deal with. Mercenary War Chiefs back there as well. With the Lok Flagrim are once again rushing forward here. Ooh, actually some Herenidine Berserkers here, trying to outflank the pikemen and the rest of the units around here. Looks like Lengo brought down another unit of Gondor infantry as well, and you can see, yes, we are in fact getting a little bit outflanked here, but don't worry, because Lengo, as you can see, is bringing another unit of Gondor infantry to outflank the outflankers. Oh, sorry. But over here, things are looking decent, I guess. With the pikemen, the Mithlond pikemen with the Gondor infantry are definitely holding decently well. They should be able to hold for a long time, as long as they don't continue to get outflanked. We should be able to hold here for a decent amount of time. However, over here is where things are not looking great. You can see these Gondor infantry are at 36, and Mithlond pikemen are at 58. And you can actually see that the the catapult crew just ran right around. Just the utter disrespect here from the catapult crew, just running straight around our beleaguered pike line. Looks like the Forge Rim Javelins might end up doing the exact same thing. Oh, there's some Ithilien Rangers. And it looks like the Edmore's Troll Hunters and the Swordsmen are just going to charge straight into our poor pike line. And that's going to be the end, really, for these guys pretty shortly. Which is not good, because over here we're actually doing pretty well, but on this side we just have so few troops. We're actually not doing super great. Because if these guys end up falling, it means these guys over here will actually also end up getting surrounded, which is, of course, not a great thing. Actually, one second. I'll have to go for just a second. I'll be right back in just one moment. Alright, my apologies for that. Just a little bit of that. I just had a little issue there, but we're back now. Yeah, you can see, yeah, the Edmore's Troll Hunters paired with the Rudar Swordsmen just pushing straight through our very few in number units that we had over here. So things not looking super great. However, on the other side, the fight has actually begun. You can see that the Gondor infantry are actually pushing a little bit too far forward here. Kind of running in front of my pike line here. But Gunabad is attacking here with both of his units of Bearwights as well as some Snaga Stalkers in here. He's got some Archer support back there as well, and you can see a lot of my Forland Archers going down to the Archer fire from like Goblin Trackers. Just the sheer volume of fire actually makes them pretty well worth it in most cases. I've got my Mithlond Marines up here as well. You can see some Scion Rim as well as some Gamp Rim have been committed to the fight, so Rune really committing a lot of his assets here. But again, the Gondor infantry with the pikes are doing quite well. However, you can see because of our units over here that we're so outnumbered, they've been completely pushed through. Lingo's trying to use his Pelargir Marines in melee here, and they're not great in melee, so they will fall pretty shortly. You can see they're actually thinking about routing. He's got his second year Pelargir Marines here trying to throw javelins, but again, because we weren't able to hold on the other side, you can see we're actually going to start to get outflanked here. And these Gondor infantry actually thinking about routing. Siren taking some javelins to the back there. Edmore's Troll Hunters also taking some javelins, so tons and tons of javelins just in this entire battle, which is always kind of funny to see. He's still got, he's still got a lot. Rune's still got a lot of pretty scary units in all honesty. There's some Horrenda Nobles back there as well. Thankfully, the Herendine Rangers were completely targeted down by both my Forlondon Archers over there, as well as I think some Carandros Marksmen. Ooh, getting a little laggy here again, but that's okay. I guess it should not be too big of an issue. And again, this is very unfortunate because you can see we're holding very well against Rune, but again, because Rudar was just pushing straight around us here, we're going to have to probably give up this area of defense pretty shortly here and start to fall back. You can see we've got some Forlondon Marines on the way over here to try and help out. I don't know if there's any here. I'll actually slow it down a little bit because that'll help with the lag. But I don't think there's any elites from Rudar over here quite yet. Actually, that helped immensely with the lag, so that's always good to see. But over here, you can see, yes, the Barrow-wights are now being given support from some halberds as well. But the halberds, while they will do decent against the heavily armored Gondor infantry, they're just really not going to have the reach to deal with my pikemen. So my Forlondon pikemen will be able to still hold here for a very long time. But again, these Barrow-wights with their 3 HP, oh man, they're going to be able to hold for so long. However, you can see that Neodonilco has an excellent position for his ballista, and it is actually doing a pretty good amount of damage to our pikeline over here. Thankfully, because of this little hill here, you can see these units are protected, but this second unit of pikeline and this second unit of Forlondon pikemen and the Gondor infantry over here are not protected by that hill, so they will be getting targeted by that ballista pretty shortly. You can see I've got some swordmasters up here taking some losses from the archer fire, but not too bad. The Gondor ballista is also here trying to take out the Angmar ballista, but that will be kind of hard to deal with. You can see I've actually got my Forlondon Marines over here in melee now, and most of these Rudar swordsmen have gone down. Oh, just the constant arrow fire from the Linden archers as well as the Gondor archers really doing a number to those lightly armored Rudar units. However, you can see that this line, now that it's been outflanked over and over again, is really not looking too hot. You can see my pikes are trying to do their best, but we actually decided to just try to retreat full on. I mean, it's probably going to lead to a decent amount of routing and losses, but there was no way we were going to be able to continue to hold it here, especially now that Rudar is committing some of his scary units like the Witch-Roman Slavers. We're going to have to pull back here and start to defend this one little choke here. So we were able to defend this outer portion pretty well, I think. Rune especially took a lot of losses. Actually, Rudar did too, because you can see all of his javelins are dead. Same with most of his swordsmen. I think really the only thing he has left are his enslavers, his mercenary war chiefs, his like 26 rangers, and then his 33 nobles back there. So Rudauer and Rune actually took quite a few losses, although you can see Rune still has a lot of units remaining. Oh, actually, I totally forgot. Vision also still has his 2 units of Black Wolves in here, so their AP 2 HP unit's gonna be able to hold and do a lot of damage for a long time. That ballista, oh, that ballista, you can see just taking a row upon row of the Gondorian infantry as well as the Forlondon pikemen. I've committed a unit of the Mithlond Swordsmasters in here as well, and you can see that there are some Guardians of Karndum approaching this fight as well. Looks like I'm kind of surprised that Neodonilco left most of his army just kind of sitting out here. Probably would have been better if he just like walked them up here so they were easier to just commit straight into the infantry fight. You know, like you don't have to run them this far. Like you can see he's running his Witch-Roman Scourgers way over here just to try and get them into the fight quickly. But again, you can see, yeah, Angmar's trying to commit some more units here. He's actually got his cavalry around the flank there, gonna maybe get a charge off into my Forlondon pikes with the flank, kind of. It was decent, I guess, but they are fighting against pikemen, so they're gonna want to get out of there pretty quickly. Still though, just a continued grind, really. Got some Forlondon Marines. I was trying to use the Forlondon Marines to target down the Witch-Roman Inquisitors, taking out, looks like one maybe? I've also got some Mithlond Swordmasters, as well as my Wardens of Elos Tyrion here. And I believe my Wardens of Elos Tyrion I used to target these Angmar Halberds, if I'm not mistaken. Because you can see they've actually got a pretty decent angle right there. So they will be able to use their BP to great effect. Looks like I'm actually, yeah, targeting these units around here, kind of. Goblin Trackers looks like they're going to be committed to the melee, sending some Witch-Roman Scourge Raiders. And as we move over here, you can see the Athelian Rangers are also moving around. Mercenary War Chiefs, and you can see we actually have, yes, set up our next defense right here. We've got some Pelargir Marines, we've got some Mithlond Marines, some Mithlond Pikemen, Fountain Guard in here as well. The AP Fountain Guard Halberd's going to be able to hold for a long time, as well as do a lot of damage to the heavily armored runic units. And it looks like I've got, yeah, I believe this is my general's unit right here, the Heartland Guard right here, yeah. Because I just wanted to keep him out of the fight, so I just went ahead and put it into an archer unit. Black Wolves at 54, I was targeting them from the flank because they have light armor. They did take a lot of casualties to that. Over here we have got still 44 Witch-Roman Slavers and then a bunch of War Chiefs. We got some Herendine Rangers as well. The Herendine Nobles, the cavalry, I don't know where they went. They're somewhere around here. Anyway. Looks like for now, though, we still have got a lot of fighting over here. Actually, it looks like the... This is where the Hirondine nobles went over here to help out the Witch Realm Inquisitors and try to charge here. But you can see the Witch Realm Inquisitors have actually taken a decent amount of losses. They're down to only about 21 now. Still healthy, but they have taken losses. Over here you can see, ooh, no, Witch Realm Scourgers trying to outflank the pike line right here, and they are doing it pretty decently, pretty effectively, that is. So you can see that Lango is actually sending over some reinforcements here in the form of some Axemen of Lossernach. I've also got some Niflheim Swordmasters that are probably going to go into the fight pretty shortly here. And we also have some Trolls inbound as well. Thankfully, the AP of the Axemen of Lossernach should do decent against pretty much all of the units around here. And because of the angle that my Warden's Velasterian have, you can see they're really just shredding through these Witch Realm Scourgers with their BP. A lot of those Halberds have also gone down, now down to only 57 remaining. You can see the BP arrows flying around here. So that's definitely good because we need to deal with these flanking forces as quickly as possible. And here are the Axemen of Lossernach ready to fight against both the heavily armored Guardians of Kerndoom as well as against the Trolls of Angmar, who would definitely do a good job of disrupting my pike line here. And so they are in fact going to go straight for the pikes, of course. That is definitely the best call. Ooh, that's close. The Forlorn Marines and the Axemen of Lossernach almost getting ballisted there. Ooh, actually a few of them did in fact get hit right there. But yeah, still the fight just continues. Those Barrow-wights, man, there's still so many of them left. 192 in that unit, 191 in that. Still about 200 each for both of the units there. Over here, the fight still just kind of continues, you could say. The Foundguard are unfortunately pushing a little bit too far forward here. They're kind of not being given any support because of the fact they're pushing a little bit too far forward. They might not have been in guard mode or something like that. That's probably the issue. That's probably the issue. That's probably why they pushed forward there. You can see the Nimlothian Armored are actually taking some skirmish fire from the Eastern Hunters and Lokanarim. Not going to be a great decision because these are 2 HP guys. These guys do have, yeah, they have 2 hit points as well as really good shield and really good armor values. So they're going to be able to tank arrows for a really, really long time without taking many casualties. Little Shadow Guard rushing into the fight now. And you can see Rune still has some pretty decent units left. He's got some Gamperim, he's got some Cyanrim, and then he's got some units in here, of course, as well. So he's still got some scary things left, as well as Angmar. He's got some... or not Angmar, Rudar rather. He's still got his Witch Realm Enslavers who haven't really fought at all yet. And he's got actually a really nice position for his Hirondine Rangers. There's only 26 of them left. But because of their BP and this perfect position, you can see they're still being able to fire down our entire row here. So really, really good positioning there from Vision for his Rangers. We can go back over here, I guess, for the moment. You can see our pike line is still holding strongly right here, mainly because of the presence of those Axemen of Lossernach to help deal with the Trolls. But on this other flank, things are not looking super great. You can see my pikes are starting to roll out flank. This unit is down to about 50, and they are thinking about routing. Although there are still some reinforcements here that can help out, so we probably don't have to worry too much just yet. But we do have to be careful. We have to be very careful, especially with these Snaga archers that might also want to try to sneak around here. And yes, you can see, in fact, some Axemen of Lossernach coming. But actually, I'm also going to be committing a unit of Noldor Guard over on that portion of the fight as well. I'm trying to think. Ooh, actually, yeah, it looks like these units are not in guard mode. They are pushing forward a little bit too far. And that may end up resulting in some heavy losses. You can actually see some Blackwolds on the flank over here as well. And I've actually got my Harland on guard, my second unit of Harland on guard, targeting down these Hirondine Rangers, because even though they're only 26, they were actually still doing a lot of damage. I also think I was using them to shoot a few of these Witch Realm Enslavers as well. And there was kind of a fun play with my Rangers. Oh, that Ballista. Really good play there from Neodemilko there with that Ballista. Oh, just taking out row upon row of these poor Axemen of Lossernach. As well as actually some of my Noldor Guard in here as well. But over here, despite the Trolls kind of pushing their way through a little bit, they are running straight into the AP axes of Gondor here, so they will start to go down pretty quickly. You can see that I've already taken about 5 losses, and they will take more. I've got both units, I think, of my Niflheim Swordmasters in here. Their high skill should do really good against most all of the units. You can see a lot of those Guardians of Kerndoom already dead. Again, those Barrow-wights, though, they're going to last for so long. I mean, they're Barrow-wights after all. That's what they do as they survive. You can see the Axemen of Lossernach actually retreating there. But that's fine, because my Noldor Guard should be able to hold here regardless of if the Axemen of Lossernach are there or not. The only issue is that they will take losses from that Ballista, which is kind of unfortunate, but it can't really be avoided. Over here you can see that Lango did actually have to commit his Nimlothian Honor Guard over here. It looks like the Witch Realm Enslavers have also been committed. So over here things are once again looking a little bit sketchy, especially with all of these runic reinforcements just around the corner. My pikemen There's only 33 left, but with this very narrow choke point, they should still be able to hold for a decent amount of time. And we still have some skirmishers around here as well, ready to fire their arrows and the javelins all into this big old mess. And there we've got some Noldorn Blade Masters, because I was trying to decide on whether or not I should commit them down here, because there are the Witch-Elm Enslavers, there's some Mercenary War Chiefs, there's a lot of runic units, and I think the Khamul's chosen are in fact making their way over here, so I was deciding on whether or not I should commit my own elite to this fight and try to help out, because like I said before, the Noldorn Blade Masters, not great in armor, but they do have 2 hit points to help them with that. But they're super high in skill. I mean, their skill is insane. They've got really good skill. I don't remember the exact stat on top of my head, but I think it might be like around 20 or something. So don't quote me on that, but it's something around there. Either way, they're really good melee. Unfortunately, there goes the Gondor General there, which may lead to some routing among some of the lower tier units like the Ramscourt Garrison Archers and even the Axeman Lossarnoch would rout probably because of that. Yeah, you can see the constant ballista fire not proving to be that nice to my Noldorn Guard. But still, most of the trolls have gone down now, so things are calming down a little bit. But again, those Barrow Wights still just fighting for so long. And I've actually got, yes, my Warden's Velosteer here. I noticed that Rune just kind of had his Gamprim just kind of sitting here, you know, just sitting here in range, perfectly in range of my body-piercing Rangers. So you will see a lot of these Gamprim go down. Because, I mean, they're just in the perfect position to get leveled by those body-piercing arrows, especially with my Warden Velosteer on that hill right there. It's going to be really troublesome for Rain here. He's going to lose a lot of his Gamprim. And that is not a good thing for him because he's definitely going to need these reinforcements to break through all the units that we still have to do. Now you can see so many of those Gamprim just getting flattened by those body-piercing arrows. But over here you can see we don't really have a lot of units. You can see we're kind of getting pushed back. In fact, on this flank right here, we have like nothing. And I would commit my Harlandon Guard, but I decided instead to just use my Harlandon Guard's ammo, or at least as much of it right away, just so I could fire straight into the flanks of these units. Nimloth and Honor Guard down to 60, the Witch-Elm Enslavers all the way down to 7, so they definitely take a lot of losses there. Yeah, look at that, they Gamprim right here. I believe they're almost completely healthy, and now they're all the way down to only 47 men remaining. And now that this one's down to about 47, I believe I do actually use my Warden's Velosteer to target the other unit instead. Because, of course, only 40 or 30 Gamprim aren't going to be too much of an issue, whereas 141 still could be. So I'm going to switch gears here and use the Rangers to target the healthy unit of Gamprim. At least I assume that's what I do. I think that's what I do. I'm almost positive that's what I do. Yeah, you can see. Okay, there we go. I was like, am I going to do that? But yeah, it looks like I am in fact going to do that, so that's good. But yeah. We've got, ooh, yeah, you can see we're starting to get overrun here a little bit. There's just so many units. The Nimloth and Honor Guard still holding on strong, but there's a lot of AP rune units right here that could deal with the Nimloth and Honor Guard quite easily. Now we've got some Noldorn Guard maybe going to come over here as well. And yes, oh, yeah, the look Gamprim, they were like 140 all the way down to 72 now. Those body-piercing arrows, man, so damaging. You can see the Gondor Archers were also firing about this, and we're firing this entire time as well. And he's just going to go ahead and commit the last of his units, it looks like, right into the fight. Which is probably maybe going to break through our defense right here, which is why I've got some Noldorn Guard as well as I believe some Noldorn Blade Masters on the move down here to try to help out. However, on this side you can see that we were able to push back a lot of the Angmar forces. However, in doing so we've kind of left open a little bit of a gap right here. Still though, it looks like the only thing around here currently is just some of these Barrow Wights. However, you can see that Neodonelko is in fact going to commit some Guardians of Carndum, his last halberd unit, as well as his Witch-Elm Blackguard and his Witch-Elm Hammerguard. So this is basically it for him. He's just going to try to do one last push here. In terms of percent, it's 61 to 78, so still pretty close. And over here, yes, you can see I am in fact going to commit my Noldorn Blade Masters. It looks like Lango's also going to commit some Ramscourt Garrison, because you can see there are still a lot of very deadly units around here, like all these AP runic ones. But again, because of the light armor, relatively light armor again of my Linden units, their AP shouldn't serve them that well, whereas the skill of these Linden units should be very effective against these heavily armored units. Over here, you can see my general is getting assaulted now by the Khamul's Shadow Guard. Archers do outnumber the Shadow Guard, but they are spearmen, so they're not going to do super great. And I do have to be careful, because if my general dies, that's not going to be a good thing, of course, for morale. You can see Círdan right there. Círdan the Shipwright, leader of Linden. You can actually see Rain is moving over some slow Xynarm over here to help out the Khamul Shadow Guard against my Harlandon Guard, and so that's not a great thing. I may end up actually losing my general here, and that's not going to be great. However, over here, you can see we're still doing decent. I mean, he's got a lot of heavily armored units around here, so it's definitely not over just yet. We're going to have to be careful. Over here. Again, because of the fact that I've used most all of my javelins, and you can see that Angmar still has a lot left. You can see they're just pushing through us right here, and that is not good. You can see I've lost half my men. And you can see, yeah, Angmar just pushing through our beleaguered forces right here. We're actually going to have to pull back because of this full-on push here from Angmar. We're actually going to have to, yeah, pull back a little bit, maybe defend some of these other areas. But the thing is, there's a lot of areas that we're going to have to try to defend, but we're just going to have to push back because there's no way we can continue to hold that area with all those holes being opened up now by this Angmar push. Especially with all these elites here, it's not going to be an easy thing. Also, because of this opening that has been created now, you can actually see that the Herendai nobles, as well as I believe the Witch Realm Inquisitors, are actually going to be able to have enough space to actually get some good charges off on our remaining defending units, and that is not great. It is not great at all. Linden Archers, Fountain Guard. Yeah, you can see we're pulling away some of our assets from over on the runic side to go elsewhere. Yes, unfortunately, there goes my general. There goes Kirt on the shipwright. So both defending generals are now actually dead. Since I'm actually pulling back my Herland Guard, not a great idea. Yeah, both defending generals dead. I believe that the only attacking general dead was the runic one from that ballista fire early on. But they're both Rudar's general as well as Angmar's general are still alive. You can see my Noldoran Blade Master is kind of outnumbered here by all of these runic units, but again, with the support of the Nimlothian Honor Guard and some of these archers, we should be able to deal with this reasonably well. There are some Signrim and some Kumul Shadow Guard going around the flanks though, and that is not a great thing. Forlorn Marines, ooh, getting a nice javelin volley there onto those poor Lork Scion Rim. And up here you can see I've got my Noldoran Guard, my final unit of Noldoran Guard, getting charged head-on by the Herendai nobles, which is not great. And you can also see there are some Guardians of Karndum as well as maybe some Witch Realm Hammer Guard and Witch Realm Black Guard. So the elites of Angmar rushing straight up here to my Noldoran Guard. And my Noldoran Guard, they're good, don't get me wrong, but against Guardians of Karndum and both of those elites from Angmar, they will not be able to hold for very long at all. You can see that both units of cavalry here from the attackers are up in our defense, and we will be able to get some good charges off here and there. You can see the Axemen of Losnock rushing down the hill here, going to be able to do pretty decent actually against the Angmar Halberds because they're AP. The Barrow-wights still, there's so many Barrow-wights, man. The Barrow-wights are so difficult to deal with. They just really do not like to die unless it's to catapult or unless it's to artillery fire or AP Lancers. I still do have some Wardens of Elas Tyrion with ammo left remaining as well. Unfortunately, most of my javelins are all out of ammo now. And you can see that now that we've kind of reformed our line over here, things are looking a little bit better. Looks like we will be able to deal with the last of Rudar's infantry and Rune's infantry. Again, the Noldoran Blade Master is just so good. They've only taken one casualty throughout this entire engagement so far. But again, up here you can see things are not looking super grand. You can see I've got my Mithlond Marines and the Noldoran Guard trying to hold back against this Angmar force. But with the Hammer Guard here, the Black Guard here, and the Guards of Karndum, it's going to be very difficult to do that. Especially with these cavalrymen running around. You can see the Herendai nobles going to try to move around here, get an AP Lancer charge off on some of our important units. Ooh, hope he's... Oh, I thought he was going to go for the Noldoran Blade Masters, but he's instead going to try to go for the Ramscore Garrison, but because of his own allies' units, he's not really going to be able to get a great charge off. So not the best charge in the world, but still. As the runic units go down, there's going to be a lot more opportunity for him to get good charges off on important units like the Noldoran Blade Masters. There are some Nimlothian Honor Guard over here, and they have a very good bonus against cavalry, so he has to be careful to not leave his Herendai nobles in here for too long. You can actually see a few of them have been going down. Noldoran Blade Masters still at 62. And up here you can see I'm trying to scramble some reserves to get in here, but again, with the cavalry around here, and all these elites, you can see my unit's not doing too good. You can actually see my Noldoran Guard thinking about routing. And the AP of the Hammer Guard, which normally would not do super great against most of the Linen roster, is actually going to be very useful against my heavily armored Noldoran Guard. Not to mention the fact there are some Witcher and Blackguard coming over here as well, so a lot of elites. And things are not looking too great for the defenders as of now, especially with the advance of some more Barrow-wights as we speak. There's some Fang Raid there. Yeah, there's the Angmar Halberds still trying to cut their way through the Axemen of Lossarnock, and with pretty much the last always, they just never die, the Barrow-wights still making their way forward. Characters Marksman trying to shoot into the flanks there of the Angmar Halberds, maybe try to get some bragging going on there. Throwing Rangers here as well. There's still some more units right here. Inefficient. And again, some charges now from the AP Horrenda Nobles really doing a number, unfortunately, to my Noldoran Blade Masters. And that is not good because the Noldoran Blade Masters will be very, very important and very key in the destruction of these Witch Realm Blackguard and Witch Realm Hammerguard, because if they die, because if the Blade Masters die to cavalry, that's going to be very bad, because they're one of the few units that can go toe-to-toe. Well, one of the few remaining units anyway that can go toe-to-toe with the units like the Witch Realm Hammerguard and the Witch Realm Blackguard. And my Noldoran Guard just not doing super great. They're taking some cav charges from behind. They're getting surrounded now by some Witch Realm Blackguard. I've got my javelins around here. I've got some more units, but things are really not looking super great. So I am actually going to be able to pull back my Noldoran Blade Masters now. I've got my Harlandan Guard also trying to target down the Horrenda Nobles, but with their 2 HP and decent shield values, they're going to be able to stand up to that for a pretty decent amount of time. However, I was able to escape with my Noldoran Blade Masters, and they will very shortly go up here to try to help out against the Witch Realm Blackguard and all the remaining units over here. You can see that there are some Fountain Guard actually over here as well. And the Fountain Guard, again, will be able to do pretty good, honestly, against the Witch Realm Blackguard. But again, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. Over here, looks like most of the character marksmen are out of ammo. Looks like these ones might still have, these ones might have a few bits of ammo left. The Angmar Hubblers, ooh, they're wavering. They're at 106, and they're definitely thinking about routing here. Barrow Whites, though, still going strong. There's 132 in that unit, and 126 in the other. So still a good amount of Barrow Whites remaining. 14 in Malathian Honor Guard. There's some Siren there, but they're probably going to get cut down by the Ramesakor Garrison. Don't know where the Herenadine Nobles are. Oh, here they are. Horrenda Nobles sneaking around the flank here. Probably going to get a good charge off on the Athalian Rangers, maybe? I've got my own Rangers right here as well, trying to target down the Halberds there, trying to make them out. Oh. The Horrenda Nobles charging headlong into the Athalian Rangers, going to be able to do a lot of damage there. And because they're AP Lancers, they could basically just cycle charge all of these archers to death really, really easily. There's only 14 of them left, though, so they are starting to go down. You can see I'm actually also trying to sneak around with my javelins, because if I can go around with my javelins and start jabbing these opponent units in the back, things are definitely going to start looking up. You can see now, and you can see now with the advance of the Noldoran Blade Masters as well as the Fountain Guard, we are starting to cut our way through some of these units. You can see the Witch Realm Blackguard are down to 48. The Hammer Guard are still at 53. The Guardians of Carnum are at 64. And again, the Fountain Guard once again pushing a little bit too far forward here. Some of them they're almost facing the wrong way, and they're kind of like split into like 3 separate parts here. So they're actually getting cut down relatively quickly, which is not great. German Inquisitors, there's 2 of them remaining. And the Horrendite Nobles down to 7, but once again rear charging our back lines. And if he's accidentally lost or knock route, that may be game over, because if they rout, it will allow all these Barrow Whites, this flood of Barrow Whites, to just push forward here. You can see some more Horrendite Nobles going down. Looks like there's only 3 or 4 left. Yeah, 4 of them are remaining. And it looks like the last of Runes units have been defeated. And up here, yeah, you can see things are just really looking nasty. It's not really that well of an organized fight. You can see there's just units kind of just scrambled all over the place. You can see the Blackguard are kind of out here, by themselves. There's like this weird like push almost here by the Fountain Guard and some Noldoran Blade Masters here. There's still a decent amount of the Guardians of Carnum as well as the 36-35, which are on Hammer Guard. But again, these elites are going down, just proving that the pairing here of the Fountain Guard as well as the Noldoran Blade Masters is proving to be very, very effective, even against elites. There goes an admit defeat. I believe that was from Rude Hour. Maybe? Maybe not. Maybe it was Rune. It wasn't. Yeah, I bet it was Rune or something. You can see I'm going to commit my other unit of Noldoran Guard over here as well. And things are starting to look a little bit better. You can see there's definitely still some scary units around here. There's still those Blackguard and the Hammer Guard. But now that we've got some more reinforcements over here, things are looking a little bit better. But again, if the Barrow Whites manage to get through here, it's going to be basically game over. However, you can see that I've actually committed my Wardens of Elos Tyrion into the fight here. And while they're not going to be able to kill the Barrow Whites very quickly, they will be able to at least hold. You can see there goes the Angmar and the Rudar General back to back. And just like that, all 5 of the generals have been killed off in this battle. There is not a single general left alive on the battlefield today from both the good guys and the bad guys. And you can see the Witch Realm Blackguard down to 23, Hammer Guard at 19, yeah. You can see a lot of these attacking units going down now, and it looks like the outcome is pretty much inevitable. Actually, yeah, the Guardians of Krundum are routing there, so that's pretty much going to be game over for the attackers. I mean, they've still got the Bear Whites. The Bear Whites are, of course, going to last for a real long time, but that's just about it, because you can see the Angmar Halberds routing. The last of these elites getting cut down here, so that's basically going to be it for the attackers. Still, it's a very close fight. However, you can see there's still quite a few frames remaining. That is, of course, because of the Ballista, or not the Ballista, the Bear Whites here. They're going to be able to fight for a long time, as well as the Ballista. So we'll go ahead and put it back up to 6 times speed. That should be fine. A lot of the times, especially when there's a lot of units remaining, if you put up to 6 times speed, it'll get like super laggy. It'll be like even slower than just normal speed. It looks like this is okay-ish. Yeah, looks like that's going to be basically game over. Yeah, like the Bear Whites, I mean, they're Bear Whites. They're going to last for a very long time. Especially because we don't have any cavalry or artillery left over to deal with them. We're just going to have to kill them just purely through an infantry fight, which is going to take a while. But that's okay. Full on archers left over. And you can see the percentage is 88 to 95%, so within 7%. Very close fight. You can see we were able to defeat all those units over here. We've got my Noldor and Blade Masters and the rest of my units in here as well. Bear White's getting outflanked, going to be getting cut in half pretty shortly here as well. And back there you can see my Noldor and Guard and some other units rushing after that Ballista over here. The Ballista, oh, this Ballista was very, very well placed by Neodonilko, and they got a lot of kills on our units over here on that hill. And you can see it's going to be game over for Neodonilko's Ballista. Got my Mithlond Marines over here who actually still do have javelins left over. Kind of a waste to use it on Ballista crewmen, but you know, there's no point in just saving it, as the battle is just about over. And there are not too many Bear Whites left to cut down. There's 57, 55 maybe. That might be the same unit. Yeah, I think it's the same unit. Looks like. Oh yeah, just getting pushed apart, looks like. And thus, do the Bear Whites fall. And that'll be just about it. You can see there's not too many frames remaining. But again, please go ahead and vote for Third Age Reforged Mod of the Year on moddb.com. Again, the link to that will be down in the description below with all the other links. So please go ahead and check that out. Also, big thank you to all of the players involved. You can see that the most kills went to Lengo with 2,997, just shy of 3,000 kills. I was not too far behind. Neodonilko got the most kills for the attackers. Let me take a quick look here at the exact kills. My Harlandon Guard did pretty good. My Forlorn Archers did okay. Wardens of Elastirion getting 585 kills. Mithlond Marines doing pretty decent. My Noldoran Blade Masters getting 218 kills, and they still had like 40-something men remaining. Very, very good unit. My Pikes did eh. My Noldoran Guard did pretty good, I guess, and my Mithlond Sword Masters did alright as well. But that'll pretty much be the end of this video, so I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please comment, like, and subscribe. If you did not, just tell me what I did wrong, and I'll be sure to fix it for the next one. So farewell wherever you fare, till your eyes receive you at your journey's end.